Nobody knows the trouble Gettysburg's Christ Lutheran Church saw in 1863, but we do know it saw its share.
So all of the windows were blown out, rain came in, and the place was really a shambles. You can imagine having 100 men there bleeding, no control over their bowels, bladder, and so on.
Christ Lutheran flew the red flag of a Civil War field hospital. Wounded and dying soldiers no doubt said their prayers here.
And on the ground floor below that was where they did the amputations, and they had about 40 men in there at a time.
No living person witnessed the suffering, but a living thing certainly did.
It's an American linden or basswood tree that was planted here back in the 1830s and has continued to grow and grace the front of this church for over 175 years. Why were linden trees chosen?
It's called a witness tree.
They're pretty slow growing, and there are actually 3 of them.
And caretakers say it's now waging its own battle and losing.
But because of the root structure underneath the primary sapling there is rotting away.
Church member Vinton Smith vowed to preserve the tree's legacy.
I thought, well, there's got to be a way I can do this.
The history buff turned to horticulture.
We're always learning more, right? We always learn new things all the time.
And a process called air layering.
Perhaps picking a section about like that, removing the bark entirely, and then scraping the cambium layer away from the bark so that the branch can't get any nutrients whatsoever.
With the branch still attached to the trunk, Vinton performs surgery, cutting, and then packing with soil and water, and wrapping in foil to block out the light. 2 months later, you have to witness to believe, a root ball ready for planting.
So now we have a tree that is completely separate from the original tree.
This may be the first time in Gettysburg's history that a severed limb is celebrated.
That we can say, right here is a tree that has exactly the same genetic code as the trees that were here during the Battle of Gettysburg and sheltered men and cared for them.